Hello everyone and welcome to the September 2020 Purveyor Super Sale. We'll get half off legendary items here at Mama Mumble's Discount Den of Disappointment today. That's right, 2 fistfuls of disappointment for 1 fistful of legendary Scrip. And I've got 5,000 Scrip saved up across 5 characters, so this is going to be a bit of a marathon. A few things to point out before we get started. First, I usually give a pretty detailed description of most items in my Scrip redemption videos, and people seem to like that, but there usually aren't 100 items to describe, so today, when it's really interesting, I'll spend some time on it. When it's not, I'll try to move through it pretty quickly so this doesn't end up being 2 hours long. It's already going to be long enough. Second, I'm aware that some legendary effects on some weapons will allow you to trigger what is popularly called magic damage. Basically, insane amounts of completely unintended damage. I know what those effects are, there are plenty of places you can learn about them, but this video isn't going to be one of those places. I don't care what you do in your game. I'm not passing judgment. You do what you want. But the fact is, it's a bug. Eventually, it's going to get fixed. So it doesn't make any sense for me to spend a bunch of time talking about it or for me to tell you that it's a good thing to get. You might have fun with it now, but eventually you'll be let down. That's no fun, so I'll stick to talking about the intended effects so that that information stays valid going forward. Third, today, I'm going to roll a combination of armor, ranged weapons, and melee weapons, so we'll have some variety. I'm hoping for some good Mutant Slayers and Troubleshooters armor pieces for the daily ops when they launch next week. We'll see if we get lucky tonight or if Mama Mumbles just hands us a big old bag of mole rat turds. Remember, if you like videos like these and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. I've always got lots of Fallout 76 content in the works and a bunch of other stuff I'm cooking up too. Okay, let's get into it, starting with some armor. Alright, and our first roll, a Cloaking Trapper right leg with radiation resistance and ammo weight reduction. Well, ammo weight reduction is useful, radiation resistance is always nice, but cloaking, I'm sorry, I just don't see the point of this. It seems like the most useless effect that an armor piece can have in this game. Stealth field for a second or two when you're in melee, I don't get it. I just don't see the point of it. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, and here we have a weightless wood left arm with intelligence and less limb damage. Less limb damage is good, I guess. Intelligence is good. Good XP, get a little XP boost. Weightless is nice, but it's kind of pointless on a wood arm. And more importantly than that, wood armor just isn't very good. So, sadly, a little bit of disappointment so far. Hopefully Mumbles can do a little better for us going forward. Alright, next up we've got an unyielding Secret Service right leg with environmental disease resistance and 15% less limb damage. So that's a good roll. Unyielding is always good. Disease resistance is helpful. Limb damage is helpful. It's not ideal, it's not amazing, but unyielding is by far the most desirable armor effect in the game. For low health players, you get a huge boost to your special stats. It makes a huge difference. Unfortunately, it's not what I'm looking for today. I've got really good unyielding pieces already. So let's see what else we have here. Poisoner's combat armor with damage from mirelurks and bugs, and harder to detect while sneaking. Poison resistance, I actually do really like that effect, especially against Scorch Beasts when they do their crop dusting attack. But unfortunately, less damage from mirelurks and bugs is, well, pretty pointless. So there just aren't enough situations where you're going up against mirelurks and bugs that it makes sense to wear a piece of armor that protects from that all the time. Harder to detect while sneaking is a useful effect to have. Bear in mind that it does not stack. So once you have one piece with that, you're good to go. Chances are this isn't going to be the piece you choose to run with that. So this one's probably going to go back in the Scrip machine. And here we have a weightless forest scout armor leg with luck and harder to detect while sneaking. This is a much better fit for that. The person who's going to wear weightless is somebody who's probably running the chameleon mutation, so they're likely already a stealth build. Becoming harder to detect while sneaking helps with that, so having this as that piece with that makes a lot of sense for that player. And up next, we've got a Ghoul Slayer's Secret Service right leg with extra luck and ammo weight reduction. So at the beginning of the video, I said I'd like to get some stuff for the daily ops, so I actually want some of these situational enemy protections. Unfortunately, what I want is Mutant Slayers and Troubleshooters, not Ghoul Slayers. So sadly, this one isn't going to be very useful for us tonight. Alright, what do we have next? A Ghoul Slayer's Urban Scout Armor chest piece with extra agility and increased sweet spot while picking locks. So again, situational effect, not the situation I'm looking for. Agility is nice. Increasing the sweet spot on picking locks, I mean, honestly, who cares? No one cares about this effect. You don't want it, I don't want it, let's move on. Auto stim right leg with charisma and the ability to breathe underwater. Auto stim is something that I actually wouldn't mind having for daily ops. That's something where, for those missions, I expect to run those at full health. I've been playing them on the PTS for a little bit now, and I find it much more comfortable to run them at full health because I don't have stealth, so auto stim will be useful there. Charisma, meh. Grants the ability to breathe underwater, meh. I mean, I guess it's a nice thing to have, but is there any point where you need to breathe underwater in Fallout 76? I don't think so. And now we have another cloaking piece. So once again, cloaking, the most useless armor effect in the game. It just doesn't make any sense. Extra luck is nice. That's always a good thing to have, I suppose, but I don't really think it does a whole lot. And durability is good, but who cares? Mutant Slayer's Forest Scout Armor left leg. Okay, here we go. So this is a good one for my daily ops pieces. I want to build a set that gives me lots of protection from super mutants. So while I'm not stealthy, I can still be pretty safe and maybe run at a little bit lower health to keep a little more damage during the super mutant daily ops. Charisma, not really the effect I want. Junk item weight reduction, not really the effect I want. I'd prefer Mutant Slayers with AP refresh or weapon weight reduction, but overall, I'm kind of content to just build a set with the one effect, so not a bad roll for me. And now we're into weapons. Furious Auto Grenade Launcher. VATS critical shots do more damage and faster movement speed while aiming. Yeah. Explosive weapons just aren't very good in Fallout 76. Furious is kind of pointless on these because you're not going to be hitting the same target repeatedly. You're going to be shooting at mobs, so just probably not a very good one to roll. And it's super heavy, so it's going to get dumped right back in the script bin really, really quick. And another grenade launcher. Mutant Slayer's Grenade Launcher. 10% damage while aiming and perception. So I guess if you are a explosives weapon build, then having this might be useful for you for daily ops. Those, you're going to know what you're fighting. You're going to know what you're up against. They're hard targets. They're tough enemies. So getting bonuses against them and preparing for it is fine, but it's still an explosive weapon. All right, Mumbles, what's with the grenade launchers tonight? What did I do to piss you off? So far, this is not going well. Another Furious grenade launcher, and this one's not even an auto grenade launcher. This is the dumb one that shoots one at a time. VATS critical shots do more damage and faster reload. I guess faster reload is useful because you're reloaded after every shot, but all in all, again, just another grenade launcher. Not good. Come on. You can do better, Mumbles. Oh my god. Anti-armor missile launcher. She is just hitting me with every piece of junk in the game tonight. So, we will use this opportunity to talk about anti-armor after the damage change goes through with patch 22, and it does look like that's largely going to be what we see, what's on the PTS now. So anti-armor is going to become more desirable. It's going to become more desirable not because it's getting stronger, but because it's basically staying exactly where it is now. What's getting reduced are damage bonuses. So anti-armor will be good after patch 22. People will want more of it. Now we have a Nocturnal minigun with bashing damage and damage resistance while reloading. Nocturnal, you know, I try to find the positive in everything, but we've got 100 items to get through. I don't have time for it. Nocturnal is garbage. There's nothing good about it. You lose damage during the day. You only really get a significant increase at the very late night. Bashing damage is a stupid effect. It doesn't do anything in this game. At least it doesn't do anything it's supposed to do. 250 damage resistance while reloading. That's fine, I suppose. But by and large, this one's going right in the script bin. It's too heavy to keep around. Okay, and now we've got an Executioner's Assault Rifle with bashing damage and faster movement speed while aiming. Now, here's an interesting one. For the most part, most people today roll an Executioner's weapon and are pretty disappointed. Because really, the whole meta right now is killing things in 1 or 2 shots, so what good is a weapon that does more damage when your target is low health? If things look like they do on the PTS right now, when patch 22 goes live, Executioners is going to be more valuable. You're going to be using more bullets to kill things. Weapons like this already are a little bit underpowered, so things like this could become more interesting, more useful, and more desirable based on some of the changes that are coming. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Unfortunately, this one, with bashing damage and movement speed while aiming, those effects are kind of blah, but Executioners may be less useless in a week than it is now. And now we have a Furious Tesla rifle with VATS hit chance and less VATS AP cost. Furious is not a bad thing for a Tesla rifle, but the VATS stuff is kind of pointless. You're not really using a Tesla rifle to use it in VATS. The goal here is to spam the ground around big mobs and tag as many things as possible, so the Furious effect is good. The VATS effects are kind of pointless, but I guess we could have done worse. And here we have another grenade launcher. I guess she's just got a pile of these that she's handing out. Maybe this is her grenade launcher clearance sale. I don't know. It's bloodied. Bloodied is a good effect, but, you know, honestly, it's a grenade launcher. Nobody uses them. Nobody likes them. They came out with a new legendary effect for grenade launchers that said, this effect makes this weapon not suck. That would be a really good legendary effect for an explosive weapon. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be on the table, so as far as grenade launchers go, a bloodied one is as good as they get. That's fine, but we'll have to move on. Alright, now we've got something good. Okay, a quad hunting rifle with explosive bullets and faster movement speed while aiming. Not a huge fan of faster movement speed while aiming, but for a sniper type weapon, that's pretty good. Quad is definitely useful because you don't have a large ammo capacity here. Explosive ammunition, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it myself, but lots of people are. It gives you a little extra damage. The big thing here is, with this weapon, you put some mods on this, you put the 50 caliber mod on it, and all your proper sniper stuff, and all your rifle perks, and all that stuff, and you've got a pretty solid weapon. And honestly, I think people will be happy with that. Oh, Mumbles. Are you mad at me because I call your store the Discount Den of Disappointment? Is that what's going on here? Is this revenge? Because this is just not good. Assassin's Grenade Launcher, fire rate, damage resistance while reloading. We will take this opportunity to talk about Assassins. That is going to get a change in patch 22 next week. That will no longer just apply to players. It will now also apply to human NPCs, which is good. I guess if you are an explosives build and you're going into a daily ops with Blood Eagles, that's good. But other than that, it's just another explosive weapon. And here we have a troubleshooter's pipe pistol. Damage to robots. VATS crits do more damage, +1 agility. You know, this might be useful on a lot of weapons. For the daily ops with robots, troubleshooters' weapons will be desirable because you'll be able to predict when you need them. But you're probably not going to take a pipe pistol or a pipe rifle to that fight. If this was a handmade or a fixer or even an assault rifle, then that would be pretty good, but sadly it's not. And we have a Suppressor's Ultrasight Gatling Laser. Reduce our target's damage output by 20% for 3 seconds, fire rate, and VATS critical meter fills 15% faster. So, suppressors, as of now, is fairly useless, but for team players, this is one of the areas where this damage change could be interesting. It's going to do a couple of things. Number one, we're going to need to do a little more damage to kill things. Number two, with one Wasteland, our enemies are going to be stronger and dealing more damage to us. So for teams, that could be a useful weapon. And here we have a Medic's Harpoon Gun with less VATS AP cost, limb damage, and VATS criticals heal you and your group. Yeah. This is just not a good weapon. It just isn't. I mean, harpoon guns can be fun, but if you want to play a medic role on a team, what you really want is a medic's handmade or a medic's heavy weapon. Something that can be automatic where you can deal lots of criticals and do lots of healing. And here we are with the grenade launchers again. I just can't even deal with the grenade launchers. No more grenade launchers, Mumbles. Not interested. Let's try something new. All right, so here we are on a new character. Now this character, I have the Tenderizer plan. So we're going to roll all 3-star melee weapons on this guy and see if we can get lucky. I don't have a legendary Tenderizer yet, so let's see what we get. Come on, Mama Mumbles, give me something good. An instigating bone hammer with less damage while blocking and agility. Agility is a nice thing to have. Reflecting melee damage back while blocking just seems kind of pointless to me. Your enemies aren't doing that much damage to you, so reflecting it back is pretty minimal, and I just don't think anybody engages in that mechanic. But the instigating effect is the big one. This is exactly what we want on a slow swinging melee weapon. Our goal here is to kill things in one shot, so this is a good farming weapon for a melee player. Not a bad roll at all. A Mutant's Sheep Squatch Club with limb damage and less damage while power attacking. Well, the roll isn't good. Mutants, I guess, is okay. 10% damage is fine. But, you know, really, the Sheep Squatch Club is just cool, and there's some cool mods you can get for it from free range. So, why not? Oh, here we go. We got something good. All right, everybody. We got something good tonight from the Purveyor. An instigating bear arm with faster swing speed and extra strength. That is exactly what we want on a weapon like this. We get to do that major damage dump for anything with full health, so great farming weapon when you're solo. Faster swing speed is perfect. We want to swing it fast, so if that first swing doesn't kill what we're hitting, that'll definitely finish it off, and we get a little extra damage with that extra strength. That is exactly what you want. The bear arm is really cool. Definitely a great roll. Really glad I tried some melee weapons at this point. And now we have a Stalker's Meat Hook with limb damage and less damage while power attacking. Yeah, this is just garbage. Stalkers, if you've seen any of my other Scrip videos, you know how much I hate this effect. It is an absolute waste, especially on a melee weapon. Basically, guarantees you VATS accuracy at 50% AP cost if you're not in combat. That sounds good, but it just doesn't work. Stalker's Pole Hook with swing speed and reduced weight. So, yeah. So once again, This is a real shame, in all honesty, because faster swing speed and reduced weight are wonderful effects, but Stalkers is just a waste. VATS simply isn't reliable enough in Fallout 76 for this to be a legendary effect. Just because it says we're going to get that accuracy doesn't mean it's actually going to work. Vampire's Pipe Wrench with limb damage and strength. Vampires, I love that effect on automatic weapons because they fire fast enough to regenerate your health and keep you alive. On a melee weapon, I don't love it so much, especially not on a melee weapon like a pipe wrench. A Nocturnal Bone Hammer with limb damage and less damage while blocking. So yeah, we've talked about it earlier. Nocturnal, just not a good effect. It doesn't really matter what else is on it. If it's got Nocturnal, it's going right back in the Scrip bin. Oh, and a Stalker's Mr. Handy Buzzblade with swing speed and less damage while power attacking. So more Stalkers, instant Scrip. Yeah, faster swing speed isn't even really useful on this because your goal here is to hold it on things and use the Buzzblade. So yeah, that's trash. Vampire's Pole Hook with limb damage and less damage while power attacking. The Pole Hook is a really solid, slower melee weapon. Vampires, great effect on fast weapons. This isn't a fast weapon. So, you know, I mean, maybe you can have some fun with it if you just really like the Pole Hook, but all in all, probably not the best roll. Zealot's Pipe Wrench with swing speed and endurance. Endurance is nice, I guess, gives you a little extra health. Swing speed is always welcome on a melee weapon. Zealots is a very situational effect. Extra damage to Scorched, which, you know, just not really that useful. The only time you're really going to take on those mobs is at the Scorched Beast Queen, and you're not taking that there. An Assassin's War Drum. Okay. Extra damage to players and now human NPCs after patch 22. You've got more power attack damage and less damage while power attacking. I guess maybe you could use this for the daily op where Blood Eagles are your enemy. You don't have the benefit of stealth there, so the fact that this is noisy doesn't really matter. But all in all, the War Drum is just not that great. But power attack damage is good. A little extra damage against human NPCs will be helpful, so maybe it could be worse. Alright, and here we've got an Instigating Sheepsquatch Staff. Okay, so we've got some decent instigating melee weapons this run. Reflects 50% of melee damage back while blocking and take less damage while blocking. So again, secondary and tertiary effects, not amazing, but instigating is exactly what you want on a weapon like this. Now, those two secondary, that second and third effect in combination with each other are maybe kind of useful if you block. It's not really a mechanic a lot of players engage in, but maybe after the legendary perks come out, more will. There are some legendary perks that involve that, so we'll have to see. Alright, this one's really good. A Junkie's Cultist Dagger with faster swing speed and less damage while blocking. So again, probably not going to do any blocking, but maybe with some legendary perks, we'll see. But the big thing here is Junkies. After Bloodied, Junkies is your highest damage dealing build that you can make. So very popular build. It will still be very strong after patch 22, just not as strong as it is now. Faster swing speed is definitely welcome. They buffed the Cultist Daggers with Wastelanders, so they do perform better than they used to. So yeah, so this isn't bad. It's already a fast swinging weapon, so not a bad roll at all. A Stalker's Assaultron Blade with limb damage and endurance. Honestly, this is worse than a non-legendary Assaultron Blade. Limb damage is just pointless on a melee weapon. It really is. A little extra endurance, I guess that's fine, but Stalkers, again, you're not going to use it on a melee weapon. And if you do, you are just as likely to just eat half your AP for nothing as you are to actually get that VATS hit. So yeah, pure trash. And here we have a Mutant's Assaultron Blade. Well, this one's definitely better. Not amazing, but better. We get 10% more damage if we're mutated, more power attack damage, and take 40% less damage while power attacking. So Mutants is not the greatest effect to get, but it's not the worst. And that secondary and tertiary combo are actually pretty useful. So now we have a real incentive to power attack for more damage, and we take less damage while we're doing it. So this is a pretty good combo. If this was instigating or bloodied or junkies or even anti-armor, that would certainly be better. But all in all, this is actually not a bad weapon when you take everything together. All right, what else do we have here? We've got a Mutant's Combat Knife with melee damage back while blocking and 40% less damage while power attacking. So again, Mutants, pretty minimal effect. It is a fast swinging weapon, but we don't get extra swing speed. So yeah, it's one of those things that if you have it, fine. You could certainly do worse, but nobody's going to go out of their way to use that weapon. And a Hunter's Guitar Sword with power attack damage and endurance. So yeah, once again, another situational effect that doesn't have very many situations where it's useful. Power attack damage is certainly good, so if you just really want to use a guitar sword and you don't have a legendary one, then I guess this would be better than nothing. But overall, not great. The guitar sword just isn't great. The other downside to the guitar sword is that it makes noise. So it's not effective as a stealth weapon. And that's one of your big ways that you get a lot of melee damage is when you get stealth bonuses. So if this is going to give up your location, it doesn't help you very much. All right, and now we have a Furious Fire Axe. Okay, with faster swing speed and less damage while blocking. So again, blocking, not a super popular mechanic as of now. Maybe after legendary perks come out, more people will use it. We'll wait and see. Faster swing speed is absolutely something we want here. Slow swinging weapons really benefit from it. Makes a big difference, especially when you combine it with some of the other perks you can use. Furious, not normally amazing for this type of weapon where we kind of want to kill things in one shot. But again, after this damage change comes, we're going to find that we're hitting things a little more often. We're going to find more enemies that we have to hit more than once or twice. So Furious on a melee weapon might be a bit more desirable after this change happens. All right, and here we have an anti-armor Shepherd's Crook with faster swing speed and extra strength. So, not the best of the slow swinging melee weapons. Damage is a lot lower than many other things, but you've got faster swing speed, you've got extra strength that'll give you a little more damage. That's good. The other cool thing with this, of course, is there are a bunch of mods you can put on it that you collect from doing the free range event. So all in all, not the worst thing to get. It can be kind of fun. Anti-armor, like we talked about before, probably going to be a little more desirable after patch 22 comes out. So we'll see how that goes. But, could be worse, could be better. I'd certainly love it more if it was junkies or bloodied or instigating, but could definitely do worse. And here we have an Executioner's Pickaxe. Well, with limb damage and agility. So, like we talked about with the assault rifle earlier, Executioners may become more useful after the damage changes come through. Things that take 2 hits to kill now might take 3 in the future. So getting a little more damage when things are lower in health could be very useful. We'll have to wait and see exactly how things shake out. I still suspect they're doing some tinkering with that, but ultimately time will tell. So Executioners could certainly be worse, Limb damage I don't love on a melee weapon. Agility, not great. I mean, it's useful, I guess, but not that big of a deal. So, not a horrible roll, not a great roll. Let's see what else we can do. Alright, and we're on another character. Another 1,000 scrip to burn, and we're going to start with some armor. Let's see if we can get anything for the daily ops, and so far, no. Hunter's leather left leg, damage from animals, strength and junk item weight reduction. Yeah, doesn't fit me for anything. Too situational in effect. And junk item weight reduction, I just don't think that's very useful. I'm sure some people like it, but I just don't carry junk. We have a robot left leg with chameleon, rad resistance, and ammo weight reduction. Not a bad roll by any means. Chameleon is certainly useful for many full health stealth builds. Rad resistance and ammo weight reduction are solid, but not a good one for me, but somebody will probably grab it out of my vendor for not very much money. We're going to back out of there and see if we can make that blinking stop. And vanguards with AP refresh and weapon weight reduction. Okay. So hopefully that blinking stops soon because it's driving me a little insane. But this is a really good roll. And I may actually use this in the daily ops where I plan to run full health. AP refresh is always good. Weapon weight reduction is always good. Vanguard, not what I was going for, but a little extra protection if I'm full health isn't the worst thing in the world. So definitely not a bad roll. Very, very useful, very desirable effects. And next up, we've got a Zealot's Trapper left leg with perception and weight reduction, weapon weight reduction. The perception and weapon weight reduction is great. Unfortunately, Zealots is too situational in effect, so not a very good roll. It'll probably go up in my vending machine for cheap. Maybe somebody will grab it who wants weapon weight reduction, but nobody's going for after the Zealot's effect. And next up, we've got a weightless urban scout armor left arm with rad resistance and harder to detect while sneaking. That's not a bad combo there. Weightless for a lot of stealth builds who use the chameleon mutation, that's useful. If you don't have a piece that already has the harder to detect while sneaking perk, then that's a good one to have. It doesn't stack. We've talked about that already, so not bad. Chameleon wood chest piece with intelligence and reduced falling damage. Chameleon, good effect. Unfortunately, wood armor just isn't very good. So this one will almost certainly go back in the script bin very quickly. And a bolstering metal left leg with harder to detect and extra luck. Not bad. Bolstering, not as desirable for low health builds as unyielding, but it is possible to build kind of a combo set with bolstering and vanguards to sort of give you a little extra protection as you're full health and then as you drop, so that can be useful. That can be a good way to use this. Harder to detect, good thing to have one piece of. Other than that, doesn't fit what I'm hoping for tonight. And a nocturnal wood right arm with breathing underwater and AP refresh. That's a shame. I always hate to see AP refresh on pieces like this because it's a great effect, but the rest of it is utter garbage. So sadly, this one is going to go in the scripper. And another nocturnal piece, this time with poison resistance and harder to detect. Yeah, so again, we've got some good secondary and tertiary effects, but nocturnal ruins it. The fact that our damage resistance goes down during the day just makes it useless. And another Zealot's piece with disease resistance and ability to breathe underwater. No go. Too situational. Alright, and now we're going to switch to weapons. Berserker's 44 pistol with damage resistance while, or extra damage while aiming, and faster reload, so some decent little effects on there, but yeah, unless you're just really dedicated to a Berserker's revolver build, this is just not a great roll. Uh-oh, we're back to the grenade launchers again. This one's a medics, with VATS critical shots doing more damage and agility. I mean, I guess VATS critical shots doing more damage on a medic's weapon is good, but unfortunately, it's a grenade launcher. I'm just completely unimpressed by explosive weapons in Fallout 76, so we're going to move on. And a Zealot's Ultrasight laser pistol with faster fire rate and faster reload. So here again, good secondary and tertiary effects, bad primary effect, and bad weapon. Ultrasight laser weapons, for some unknown reason, do less damage than their non-ultrasight counterparts. Doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it is. So, yeah, destined for the Scrip bin. An Executioner's submachine gun with bashing damage and faster movement speed while aiming. The second and third effects aren't particularly useful, especially bashing damage. But on a weapon like this, Executioner's isn't bad. You are using multiple shots to take down most targets with something like this, so getting a little extra damage on the tail end never hurt anybody. If you're gonna be a submachine gun user, an Executioner's is not a bad way to go about doing that. And a Berserker's lever-action rifle with faster fire rate and damage resistance while aiming. Now, Berserker's is not a bad option for stealth snipers. So there could be some utility to a weapon like this. Faster fire rate isn't probably ideal on a weapon like this, where it's one pull of the trigger for each bullet, but not a terrible thing to have. But Berserker's isn't bad here for a weapon like this. This is the kind of weapon you would use if you're a Berserker build. And a 2-shot black powder pistol with reduced weight and extra VATS critical damage. Well, the best effect on this one is that it's 90% reduced weight. So we can keep it. It's worth 40 Scrip. It'll come in handy before the next Purveyor sale, because that's usually what happens. Those really lightweight ones just kind of sit in the stash forever until I need things to dump in there to load up on Scrip before a big sale. And a Stalker's light machine gun with faster fire rate and VATS critical meter fills 15% faster. Faster fire rate on an LMG is awesome. Unfortunately, Stalker's is terrible. We've discussed it at length in this video, so no need to go further there. This would be a good weapon for somebody who wants an LMG with a faster fire rate and doesn't have a legendary version at all, if they don't use VATS. But other than that, probably not ideal. This is a little better. 2-shot light machine gun with limb damage and reduced weight. Of course, the 90% reduced weight effect is pretty whacked out on most weapons. The minute you put a single mod on it, it gets thrown all over the place. But 2-shot, while I don't love it on many weapons, on heavy guns, it's not so bad. You're not really relying on pinpoint accuracy for these. It's more of a lay down some fire and hit everything in your path. That's less the case with the LMG, as it is very accurate to begin with. But overall, not bad. Limb damage gives you a little more utility on big bosses and things. But yeah, not a bad roll. We'll keep moving. And an Instigating Fat Man with VATS hit chance and less VATS AP cost. Well, if you're going to use a Fat Man, an Instigating Fat Man is probably a good one to use. Double damage on targets with full health. It deals area damage. So probably not the worst thing in the world. If you're going to use one, maybe you'd have a chance at this one being decent. Still very underwhelmed by the explosive category and the Fat Man in general. I really, really hope they can improve that at some point going forward. It's such a staple of the Fallout world. It's a shame that it's just not very useful in Fallout 76. All right, a Berserker's double-barrel shotgun with VATS hit chance and faster reload. So here again, Berserkers, if I'm a shotgunner, I'm probably not running around without armor, but I guess if I really wanted to be, okay, be all right. That's the interesting thing about Berserkers is if you're not doing that sort of build, then it's worthless, but if you are, then it's really the only effect for you. So, not a bad one if you're a Berserker. If you're not, it's going to go in the Scrip bin. And an instigating black powder rifle with faster fire rate and less VATS AP cost. So again, instigating on a hard-hitting weapon, that's the effect you want. I don't love the black powder weapons. They're just too slow to be really useful, but they can be fun, and there are players out there that really like them. Faster fire rate is absolutely wasted on this weapon. The fire rate is not the problem, it's the reload speed. Less VATS AP cost, that's probably a good thing on a weapon like this. So overall, probably not something most people are going to use, but if you want a really heavy damage dealer, an instigating black powder rifle wouldn't be a bad choice. Alright, give us something good, come on. Not so far. Suppressor's plasma pistol with limb damage and perception. So yeah, no. It's just not good. Suppressors, maybe with one wasteland, suppressors will be a little more useful because enemies will be dealing more damage, but that's only really going to be in team scenarios, and I still just don't see it as something that people are going to grab onto. And an Assassin's Ultrasight Gatling Laser with VATS hit chance and reduced weight. So, if you're a heavy gunner, and you want something just for the daily ops, one of the optional enemies for daily ops is going to be Blood Eagles. Assassins will do damage against humans going forward, so maybe you keep something like this around. It doesn't weigh a ton, so that could be useful. VATS hit chance is always a nice thing to have, but yeah, so maybe you keep something around like this for that, but honestly, you probably won't. This is probably going to get turned back in for Scrip. Alright, let's see what you got for us here. Come on. Oh. Hunter's Western Revolver with explosive bullets and 250 damage resistance while reloading. Well, the secondary and third effects are good. 250 DR while reloading on a weapon that takes a second to reload is not a bad thing. Explosive bullets are definitely good. Unfortunately, it's Hunters, which just isn't great. Too situational, and it's too rare a situation that you'll use it. Alright, we're jumping over to PC here for a couple more characters full of Scrip. We'll start with some armor. I'm going to try and pick up the pace a little bit here because this is definitely getting long. And this is a pretty good one. Not good for what I'm looking for tonight, but it's a good roll. Poison resistance, harder to detect, and vanguards. Definitely solid for a full health build. And an auto-stim Secret Service left leg with agility and falling damage protection. Auto-stim, not bad for the daily ops, which is what I'm hoping for, but probably not on a Secret Service piece. This is on a character. This is on my old Man McRib character that I'm not going to use for daily ops, so not a great one for this one. Alright, here's a good roll. Chameleon Forest Scout Armor with AP Refresh and Junk Item Weight Reduction. Chameleon, very useful for sneak. AP Refresh is awesome. Junk Item Weight Reduction, I personally don't care about because I don't carry junk long enough for it to weigh me down, but someone might really like that. They'll find a cheap little prize in my vending machine one of these days. And a regenerating wood right leg with intelligence and weapon weight reduction. Intelligence and weapon weight reduction are awesome, but it's wood and it's regenerating, so no thank you. Bolstering metal right leg with perception and harder to detect, so could be useful for somebody. Alright, give me something good, come on. Here we go. Alright, I wanted Troubleshooter's pieces. So there we got one. Troubleshooters with Charisma, Food, Drink, and Chem Weight Reduction. So, not so worried about that weight reduction perk or charisma, but combat armor's decent, sturdy combat armor's decent, and troubleshooters is what I want. I want to build a set to protect me from those terrible, terrible freezing robots in the daily ops. So this is a good roll for me. And here we have a Poisoner's sturdy robot right arm, but the primary effect is actually Mutant Slayers. Protection from mutants with poison resistance and ability to breathe underwater. Don't really care about the second or third effect for daily ops, but super mutant damage is something that I want, so we'll use that for that set. Very, very good. And a Hunter's Metal right arm with luck and weapon weight reduction. So yeah, not great. Not the effect I'm looking for, not the effect anybody's looking for, really. Weapon weight reduction is nice, but it's not going to be nice enough to make it desirable with that first effect. Alright, and our next armor roll is a Mutant Slayer's Raider left arm with agility and chance to reduce damage by 15% while sprinting, the Cavalier's effect. This is awesome. This is the kind of thing I want to roll for the daily ops. Remember here that my goal is to reduce damage from the enemies I'm facing because I can plan for it. So this is perfect. It doesn't really matter what armor piece it is because all those different damage reductions will stack together. And I also do a lot of sprinting during daily ops, so Cavaliers is awesome for that. Agility gives me a little extra AP. That's perfect. Couldn't ask for a better piece to put in my set. And a Hunter's Secret Service right arm with intelligence and less limb damage. Yeah, so situational effect for the wrong situation. Extra intelligence is always nice, but not going to use this piece for anything. Sadly, can't be moved around, so it's going to go back to the Scrip bin. And we are going to switch to weapons, and we'll start with a 2-shot Cryolator. That's crits do more damage. 50 damage resistance while aiming. 2-shot Cryolator could be interesting. This is really more of a support weapon, so if you're using it, it's not really about doing damage. It's not even necessarily about accuracy, so it's just about freezing and slowing down big tough enemies, so hitting them twice, 2 projectiles, might not be a bad way to do that. Exterminator's minigun with exploding bullets and 250 DR while reloading. Exploding bullets on a heavy weapon is always awesome. Damage resistance while reloading on a weapon that takes a minute to reload, again, always solid. Exterminators, yeah, that's a disappointment. So, still not a bad weapon. It's a good, cheap vending machine gun for somebody that wants a minigun but doesn't have a legendary one, because it's got cool stuff on it besides exterminators, but other than that, it's just not very useful. Alright, this isn't bad. Vampire's Flamer with damage resistance while aiming and faster movement speed while aiming. Something like this could come in handy during daily ops for a heavy weapons build. Can come in handy at Colossal Problem. Something like this that fires pretty fast and regenerates your health while you're doing it. Definitely not a bad way to go. You can also use this with the Friendly Fire perk for your teammates, so you can heal them and yourself at the same time. So for a Flamer, this is a pretty good one. Fire rate might be better, but I don't know about that. So not a bad one to get. As opposed to this, which is a very big, giant disappointment. Zealot's single action revolver. Zealot's effect is not worthwhile. Explosive bullets are nice. VAT's critical meter filling faster is nice, but it's a single action revolver. It takes like 17 years to reload it. Nobody's using this weapon. And an Assassin's pump action shotgun with extra VAT's hit chance and faster movement speed while aiming. So here again, could be useful during daily ops if you're a shotgunner and you're facing Blood Eagles, but chances are you've got something better than this. VAT's hit chance does work. It's not a bad thing to have. But yeah, I mean, maybe you'll use it, maybe you won't. It's an roll. Mutant's explosive black powder rifle with VATS critical meter filling 15% faster. Explosive bullets are nice in really high damage weapons. Mutants, unfortunately, isn't that useful in effect, but in a weapon like this that does really high damage, 10% of that really high damage is pretty significant. So if you like using black powder weapons, then you could certainly do a lot worse than this one. And a Ghoul Slayer's assault rifle with limb damage and damage resistance while aiming. Ghoul Slayers, just not an ideal effect. Sad to say it, it just isn't. Now maybe there'll be a daily op in the future with ghouls, and something like that would be more useful, but for now, just not going to see a lot of utility with something like this. And a Hunter's black powder pistol with bashing damage and perception. Yeah. No. This is just no good. We're just going to move on. And an anti-armor cryolator with bashing damage and damage resistance while reloading. Again, support type weapon. Doesn't really matter all that much what the primary effect is, but I guess anti-armor is helpful. Bashing damage is pretty pointless. Damage resistance while reloading, not a bad thing if you're in that support role. A little extra protection never hurt anybody. But yeah, cryolators they have their niche, they have their use. So if you get one and you're the person designated with using it, then an anti-armor one isn't a bad one to have. An Exterminator's Fat Man with bashing damage and less VATS AP cost. Well, earlier we had an instigating one, and I said if you're going to get a Fat Man, that was the one to use. This would be the opposite of that. There aren't enough Mirelurks and bugs running around that you're going to use this. Bashing damage is pointless, and less VATS AP cost on a Fat Man, really, who cares? If you're firing enough shots with that to need that, then it's already failed. Ghoul Slayer's black powder rifle with bashing damage and perception. Yeah, this one's another dud. So we've had a few decent items tonight, so I can't complain too much, but yeah, this is just not good. An anti-armor Gatling plasma with VATS hit chance and agility. So, alright, anti-armor's not bad. We talked about that a little bit already tonight, that anti-armor is going to be a little more desirable after patch 22 comes out. VATS hit chance is nice, but not really ideal on heavy weapons. Agility never hurt anybody. Not an amazing roll, but far from a bad one. A Troubleshooter's Gamma Gun with bashing damage and perception. Well, yeah. No, just no. Troubleshooters isn't very useful effect on a Gamma Gun. I mean, you're shooting at robots that are radiation resistant anyway, I would imagine, so what's the point of that? This one's going to be destined for the Scrip bin. Alright, what do you got for us here? Suppressor's laser pistol with VATS hit chance and faster reload. So, VATS hit chance and faster reload are decent. If energy weapons ever get a buff to make them usable in any way, shape, or form, then maybe this one could be fun. But suppressors, probably never going to be super desirable. We'll see how things shake out with all these changes coming up, but I think this one's probably a dud. Alright, one more character, 1,000 more Scrip. Time to try our luck on some more armor, and our first roll is Nocturnal. I know, I try to find the positive in things. There's nothing positive about Nocturnal. It's gonna get Script. Let's move forward. Alright, what do we have next? We've got a life-saving metal right arm with charisma and damage while blocking. Okay, life-saving piece. I could definitely fill in a blank with that during daily ops if I don't have a complete Mutant Slayers or Troubleshooters set, so there could be some utility there, but under normal circumstances, probably not the most desirable piece. All right, come on, give me something good. Okay, another life-saving piece with disease resistance and reduces damage while blocking. This is a much better life-saving piece. Heavy combat armor is good. With the right mods, it's very effective, so definitely a better life-saving piece with more utility value than the last one. So, not bad. We'll keep moving along. And here we have an Acrobat's Raider right leg with intelligence and the Assassin's effect. So, I actually haven't checked to see if the Assassin's effect applies to human NPCs on armor on the PTS. It might not. I guess we'll find out in a few days. If it does, then this could be useful for daily ops against Blood Eagles, but other than that, probably not a great piece. Maybe if you're a PvPer, but I don't think this is really going to be what you're looking for. Another life-saving piece. This one's a Trapper chest piece with disease resistance and damage while blocking. Yeah, this isn't as good as the heavy combat armor chest piece, so definitely not going to be useful for me, but maybe it's useful for somebody. I don't know. No, this one probably just isn't good. We'll see. It'll go in the vending machine for cheap, and if somebody grabs it, great. If not, it'll turn back into Scrip. And a weightless heavy robot chest piece with Sentinel's effect. Chance to reduce damage by 15% while standing still, and luck. Sentinel effect is very popular for heavy gunners. Weightless, I guess, is good if you have the chameleon mutation, but that's probably not something you're going for as a heavy gunner, so maybe not the best combo in the world, but perhaps someone will find it useful. We'll see. And a Ghoul Slayer's Marine Armor right leg with Charisma and receive less 15% limb damage. Yeah, this one's just not good. Maybe if you really farm Whitespring a lot or something, but no way. Moving on. And a Chameleon heavy combat armor chest piece with intelligence and reduced falling damage. So yeah, Chameleon, good effect for sneak builds. Intelligence for extra XP, that's always good. I personally don't have a use for it, but I'm sure that that one will disappear from my vending machine very quickly. A regenerating leather right arm with luck and the ability to breathe underwater. Yeah, this one's no good. If we're really worried about health regeneration, there are perks and mutations that do a much better job of that than this armor will. Luck is not that useful of a stat if I can't use it for extra perk cards, so not great, and we never need to breathe underwater, so guaranteed Scrip. An Auto Stim Urban Scout Armor leg with AP refresh and ammo weight reduction. Okay. This could be useful. I've mentioned that using an Auto Stim piece during daily ops could be an option. We'll see how all the sets come together when I get time to look through it all, but AP refresh is very useful. Ammo weight reduction is fine. I run Bandolier, so that doesn't really matter for me, but as far as an overall combo goes, that's a pretty solid armor roll. And we're going to switch over to weapons. Let's see how we do. Starting with a Ghoul Slayer's 10mm submachine gun. Ouch. Okay. A Stalker's Gatling laser, so the most useless VATS effect in the game, combined with another VATS effect on a heavy weapon where it's also useless. 50 damage resistance while aiming, and this thing weighs a ton, so guess what's going in the Scrip bin first, ladies and gentlemen? It is going to be this weapon. Ouch, a Nocturnal Ultrasight laser pistol. We don't even need to talk about this. We know how bad Nocturnal is. Moving on. And a Ghoul Slayer's Black Powder Rifle with exploding bullets and agility. I feel like we've seen one of these already. With as many things as we're rolling tonight, that's a strong possibility. Yeah, exploding bullets is fun on a weapon like this, but Ghoul Slayers is not the right effect. Not at all. This is way too slow for ghouls. Let's keep going. Oh, there we go. All right, Mumbles, I forgive you. Not really, but at least for 10 seconds or so here. An instigating minigun with faster fire rate and agility. Faster fire rate is absolutely what we want on a heavy weapon. That brings our DPS through the roof. Instigating really shouldn't be a good effect on these, but it actually is. If it only affected the first bullet that came out, it wouldn't be very useful, but it does actually tend to affect the first few bullets that hit, especially when the fire rate is fast, so it's pretty useful even on a heavy weapon, so this is a pretty solid roll. I'm pleased with it. All right, we've got another one. Mumbles is redeeming herself. Maybe I just need to criticize her a little more. Junkie submachine gun with exploding bullets and 250 DR while reloading. This is a pretty solid roll all around. Would it be better if it was on a fixer or a handmade? You bet it would be, but it's not. It's on a submachine gun, which can still be a really fun weapon to use. Especially with exploding bullets, it's going to bring back some memories of Fallout 4 with the spray and pray. 250 DR while reloading is perfectly fine. And Junkies, second to Bloodied, it's still, even after the changes coming up, it's still going to be one of the most powerful effects in the game. So definitely a winner there. And this one's definitely a loser. Mutant Slayer's grenade launcher with VATS hit chance and VATS critical meter filling 15% faster. Don't love this. Maybe if you are an explosives build and you wanted to use this during daily ops, it could be useful, but sadly, I just don't think that's going to be the case for very many people. Let's keep going. All right, a Mutant Slayer's railway rifle with VATS hit chance and agility. So, not an amazing roll, but railway rifles are powerful. VATS hit chance is helpful. I imagine if I slap an automatic receiver on this thing and take it into the daily ops with super mutants, it could be pretty useful. I usually avoid railway rifles because I can't silence them for stealth, but in the daily ops, your stealth is gone, so that doesn't really matter. This might be useful. I'm going to give it a try. And Stalker's single action revolver with limb damage and less VATS AP cost. Yeah, no, we've talked about how horrible all of these things are enough. Moving on. We're almost done. Let's see if we can get a winner here. Ouch. An exterminator submachine gun with exploding bullets and reduced weight. Well, we got a really good explosive submachine gun already, so I can't complain too much. At least it's light, and we'll turn in for 40 Scrip, and we only spent 50 to get it. A Hunter's Western Revolver with damage while aiming and faster reload. Well, faster reload's a nice thing to have on a revolver, but sadly, Hunter's is not great. This one is just a bit disappointing. Come on now. You gotta have something more for us here. One more good one. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, a Troubleshooter's 10mm submachine gun with VATS critical shots doing more damage and less VATS AP cost. So, normal circumstances for a stealth commando. Not a great weapon. But, for daily ops against robots, and I'm running at full health, maybe that's something I could play with, right along with that railway rifle. So, is it an amazing roll? No. But it might have some utility, and I can have a little fun with that. And having fun with it is really what it's all about. Alright, 2 more left. Let's make them good. A vampire submachine gun with limb damage and 250 damage resistance while reloading. Would I love it more on a fixer or a handmade? You bet I would, but that's not what we got. We got this, and it's really not that bad. Submachine gun, not the greatest automatic rifle in the world, but Vampires is a great effect for a fast-firing weapon. Damage resistance while reloading synergizes well with that effect because it keeps us healthy while we're not shooting things and topping up our health. And even the limb damage effect, when we're going up against tougher things, we can cripple some limbs and slow them down to help us stay alive. So not a bad roll. Would love it on a better weapon, but you know what? I'll take it on this. That's pretty good. Last roll of the night, and it's an anti-armor 10mm submachine gun with damage while aiming and damage resistance while aiming. So, after the damage change, anti-armor will be a bit more desirable than it was. That's good. This is a lower damage per shot weapon where anti-armor is more useful. Damage while aiming and damage resistance while aiming synergize well together. This is a pretty decent roll to close out our big marathon trip here. Is it the most amazing thing you're ever going to see? Of course not. But not bad at all. So all in all, not a bad night at the Purveyor. We've definitely had worse trips. We've definitely had better trips. But overall, not bad. Sometimes that's just what you have to kind of factor in when you're redeeming lots and lots and lots of scrip. You're going to get some good stuff, but you're going to feel like you're walking away with a giant pile of crap too because, well, you are. That's the price you pay to get the couple of good things. At this point, I think it's time to wrap this one up. We've been here for over an hour, and if you've made it this far, ladies and gentlemen, I salute you and I thank you. If you've enjoyed this video, if you found it useful, be sure to go ahead and subscribe for more. We've got more Fallout 76 content always in the works, along with some new stuff and a playthrough of the new Outer Worlds DLC and all kinds of great stuff coming, so definitely be sure to stick around. Until next time, I'm Fisty McRib.